Hey guys, we are here tonight to talk about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. My favorite subject, one of my favorite subjects. Actually, I love history, and but I like talking about the royal family because it's like history in the making. And there's been so much going on this week regarding the Sussexes that I thought we could talk about it. So I'm Deanna from Hot for History. Welcome to all of you hot historians that are coming on to watch my live tonight. Super, super excited. And let's talk about it. Okay, so there's so much in the news. I am calling Harry and Meghan side hustlers because it just dawns on me that that's a good description. The Sussex side hustlers. Get it? Hey in Vegas. So the reason I'm calling them side hustlers is because, it's not necessarily an insult because in America and all over the world now, people have side hustles, right? But you normally don't think of the royals of having these side hustles. Meghan, because she's been an actress, and I can relate to this. I'm not an actress, but I've been in the entertainment field my entire life. You have to hustle. You have to hustle. You have to do things. And so, but mostly it's kind of done in private. People aren't really paying as much attention to it. You're like, okay, that gig didn't work out. Let me get another gig. But now there's like a lens on them. And so it's been very dramatic this week. And we're going to talk about the new website that they had, Meghan's new opportunity with her podcast, and the chance that they're in Canada. So what side hustles have we seen so far, right? So we've seen Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, leave the UK. Most likely, most of us were kind of cheering them on. Hey, they'll make it in America. They'll work hard, yada, yada. They get the Spotify deal. They give them 12 episodes. Harry gives them one. Right? They think the two of them would mean multi-millions. Let's give them 20, 40, 50 million, 100 million on Netflix. And yet it's like, wah, wah, wah. Like they don't really produce. Being famous doesn't necessarily mean you're going to produce, right? So you think of people like Ryan Reynolds, who became a billionaire because he worked his tail off, even Taylor Swift. But it's the type of thing where it's just, one of those things where you're like, why are they failing? We want them to succeed. So then you get to the point where you're like, they're just side hustlers. They've got the, Netflix, they've got this, they've got that. So that's what we're dealing with now. And this week, major stuff with Harry and Meghan's website. It's controversial. We're going to talk about it in a second. We're going to talk about the podcast. But first, let me take the messages. So we have my friend. I don't like calling you constipated in Sin City. I need a name. So, anyhow, even though that's fine. And then we've got Texas Gina. Hey, Texas Gina. Tonight we are doing Madam Web, One Love, and Lisa Frank. Oh, that's great. I want to see some of that stuff. Although I didn't hear the best about Madam Web. Okay, Taylor Swift and Kanye kicked out of the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift had Kanye. Oh, no. Kanye, maybe his girlfriend wasn't keeping her clothes on, but it is Vegas, so what does it matter? Okay, so we're going to talk about this right now. We're going to talk about this whole Sussex thing, especially this website. So they released this website. I'm going to get the website on a screen share with you guys. Give me 1 second. So this is the website that they just released. And I think first look at it, you think, what's the big deal? Why are they freaking out about it? Why is everybody like dying because they got Sussex.com? What is the big freaking deal? Right? Well, apparently they had Sussex Royals and they had to not use that a while back because the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, that's like a royal title. And they had some kind of deal with an exit plan, like the Sandringham Agreement or something like that, also known as Megxit, with the Queen, when they're like, okay, they won't create anything with the name of Sussex for commercial reasons or for business, right? But what did they do? So they closed that down. So when the king himself is basically sick and like laid up, they release Sussex. So it's sort of like a technicality. Oh, And before I show you more, so then people are like, well, gosh, I don't know if they should be doing that. And then Meghan and Harry are like, that's our name. That's our name, when it's really Mountbatten Windsor, but they're like, that's our name. From now on, it's Meghan, not Meghan Markle. It's just Meghan, like, you know, the artist formerly known as Prince, sort of like Meghan, formerly known as Markle, or formerly wanting to be known as Princess. I did not see, I heard about what went on at the Chiefs parade. Awful, awful, awful. Okay, so I'm not going to get into it, but yes, I saw that. And that's very scary and very sad. So what happens is now they're saying that what's the big deal? Sussex is our name. You know, in fact, it's Prince, you know, it's the Princess of Sussex, and Prince of Sussex, which is Archie and Lilibet. And like, what's the big deal about this? But what they're saying is that because, and let me make this bigger, because they use this crest, let me get into this and expand the crest for you so you can see it. Hopefully you can see that. So they're calling it the office. They're calling it the office of the Duchess of Prince Harry and Meghan, just Meghan, like Madonna, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And then this crest here was a crest that they created when they got married, and Meghan was very involved with creating the crest. When the crest is in color, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool look. But apparently there's these rules about using crests, and especially in conjunction with your royal name. So word on the street that the Brits, especially, you know, the ones involved in parliament and everything, are saying is, oh my gosh, they're going to get in trouble and they're going to be forced to take down the site. Now, the site itself is relatively simple. All it does is that it kind of talks about, let me see if I can get anywhere. If you go over to the menu, it's just this simple, you know, what's the about? Okay, because they say, let me expand it again, because they say that they're expanding and shaping the future through business and philanthropy, those are the keywords that apparently the office of Lord Chamberlain, I don't understand how that all works, is like, this is a violation. I don't know if you could say it's illegal. I don't know if I would say that, but you know, they might say it. So that's a big no-no, and everybody's expecting them to be told to take it down. So my question is, as an American, okay, so now I'm going to play semantics here. Okay, so as an American, like, you know, they got the .com, you know, maybe they paid for it, but they're in America. Can they be told to take that down? Now, maybe technically and legally they can't, but maybe in conjunction with their titles and names, they can. You want to use your titles and names? Well, if you're using your titles and names, then you better not use that particular site as Sussex. And my big thing is like, when have they been to Sussex in the past several years? Yeah, I didn't see how many people were hurt in that event yet. Okay, I'm gonna just try to keep on and carry on. But it is very, very sad to have an event like that and have that happen. So this is Prince Harry's bio. All you really see are these bios, and then but even the bios are a little kind of weird. So why are they doing this? They had Archewell. I always go off on a tangent because I don't script any of this, in case you can tell. So they had Archewell, right? And then their explanation is that Archewell, I mean, all of us thought, is it a production company? Is it a nonprofit? Like, what is it really? And then the stuff they were producing didn't really get off the ground. They had success with, they did have success with the Netflix series with Harry's book, The Whole Nine. That was pretty successful. But some are saying that they're changing it because they said that Harry and Meghan didn't want it to be all about Archie because, you know, the heir and the spare. So now Lilibet's going to feel like she's been slighted. So let's change it to Sussex.com. But here's the thing. There's all this vulnerability with the royal family right now. Very, 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 a lot of vulnerability. And so the thing is it looks like they're coming out guns a-blazing. Yeah, he spends 30 minutes with the king, but the king can't make all of their appearances. And now Harry and Meghan are out there making all these releases and that type of thing. So This is his bio. I'm going to expand it. Hang on a second. I will expand it so you guys can read a little bit more. And it just basically talks about, him being a military pilot, about how he was the founder of Travelist, Centibal, Wellchild. And here's the thing that disturbs me on a personal level. Is he's not staying away from this African parks thing, which there's been this research. He was the president of the African parks, and then now he's on the board. And between the time that he was in just the president, which is a big deal, and on the board for several years, there were all of these talks, and they were warned that there were these human rights violations against these indigenous people by the very guards that the African parks hires to sort of protect those parks. And so the indigenous people, which people used to call pygmies, but I can't remember what they're called now, but the Baja people or something like that, they have been severely violated. And then between the time that Harry found out about that last May, and then in October, when he stepped on the board, he said that he told the powers that be, but then he still stepped on the board, and he's still claiming to be all about human rights and about dignity with people. And at the same time, what is he doing? He's aligning himself with an organization that is under scrutiny for damaging and hurting and violently hurting people that have lived there for centuries. So, but that's not a problem for Harry. He's like, I don't care. I'm going to continue on and carry on and have my association with African parks. So that's a little bit disturbing. And then he just talks about him, and his book. His book was pretty much a success in the beginning. And then his connection with the Invictus Games. These are all hyperlinks to the organizations. And we know right now they are actually in Canada because of this whole Invictus Games launch or something like that. So now let's go to Meghan's little tab. Meghan has less hyperlinks, but then she has more things here. And then she does say, it's resumes are funny because, there's usually a lot of exaggeration. She has been named one of the most influential women in the world in rankings, including Time Magazine's most influential people, the Financial Times 25 most influential women, Variety Power of Women, that's one, and British Vogue's Vogue 25. Now that's the one to question because recently there was a photo shoot and she was not even invited to that. So anyhow, and then it talks about her childhood and her education and what she did after that she then in 2018, they got married. They talk about Archwell, about how her podcast was one of the best, yada, yada. And then, that's basically it. So, I mean, honestly, it doesn't look like that threatening of a website. It looks like it's just, it's just a website. But the fact that they took Sussex.com and they're using royal and then this family crest, this royal crest, is a subject for scrutiny over in the UK. And so they're all scrutinizing over it. Okay, so in addition, some more royal news. Another side hustle for Meghan. As a reminder, they had Archetypes podcast on Spotify. What is Spotify? Oh my gosh. What is Spotify? So they were on the entire network of Spotify, but produced by Spotify directly. Any of us can kind of get on Spotify. You just distribute your podcast, right? But she had this special designation and contract of here's millions and millions of dollars produced podcasts for us, right? And then she produced 12. And if somebody was not famous, then she would have her producers do it. They'd had all these producers and it flopped. in the very beginning, people did listen, but it did flop. And then Spotify dropped it, although they're posturing it to mean that they all parted ways together. Right. And so then now she's saying she's very excited because Lemonada picked them up. So let me bring Lemonada on here. Lemonada is another network, but also, kind of like I guess, a production outlet or something like that. I mean, you can basically put your podcast on there. And so whether they're producing or they're just distributing, I'm not sure, but this is Lemonada. Let me show you some things about this. And there are some really good, it does, honestly, it looks fun. Like, it looks like there's a lot of fun. It's not letting me change the page. Okay, so there's a lot of fun. Like, Sarah Silverman is on here. Julia Louis Dreyfus has a podcast on here. Sarah Silverman, I think I mentioned that, Jeanette McCurdy. So, I mean, it looks like it's fun. Like, it's a fun place to have your podcast, but it's not a step up. So the thing is that they're making this out to be such a big deal. And yet it really is that Meghan and Harry have finally found a home for Archetypes and Meghan's podcast, but she wasn't really that well received to begin with. So does just finding another network, if you're not willing to be transformed and change the thing, is it really going to help? So that's the big deal. That's what people are asking. Like, is this really a step up? Or is it just, they're just blowing smoke, And then everybody's still questioning the Netflix thing. Now, Harry and Meghan right now are they are currently in Canada. And let me show you that. I have some slides on that too. I have a little bit of everything for you today. Okay, so again, I call them the side hustlers. But so we're going to read a couple of articles about Harry and Meghan and what people are saying. So the page 6, when page 6 says things like this, it's hilarious because they're usually on their side. They're usually on their side, and it's like, whoa. And it is true that Harry and Meghan don't typically like to spend money. So they always want to spend other people's money. And so for them to directly say it like that is like, whoa, they just went for it. They went for the jugular. Print millionaires. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle get another free jet ride. Don't like spending their own money. Prince Harry, Meghan Markle make millions, but don't like to spend their own cash. Multiple sources tell page 6. Their latest free gift, page 6 has learned, was a private jet flying them to Vancouver, Canada for a 3-day trip to promote the launch of the 2025, all the way in 2025, Invictus Games for wounded service personnel. The couple landed in Vancouver. By the way, rumor has it that they had an entire film crew with them. The couple landed in Vancouver Tuesday on a 10-seat Bombardier Challenger 605 chartered by a local private aviation company. Most likely they didn't pay for it because they don't like paying for anything. But, who knows? Maybe the Invictus Games pay for it. Maybe Canada paid for it. Who knows? Page 6 is told they were guests on the flight. One source who has worked with the duo told page 6 they certainly don't like to spend their own money. And another well-placed insider said it's always other people's money. And so they showed up into Vancouver, and the couple does tend to fly private. They fly private, but he's part of this travelist thing, which is like about, kind of ecologically sound travel for the environment. But that applies to everybody else, but not to them. The couple does tend to fly. Okay. And Harry has said it's for security reasons. They go to Jamaica and all over, and they need their security, and often make use of their rich friends' homes. The Canadian trip is the latest use of someone else's jet by the couple, who were unavailable for comment. Last October, they flew by private jet to NYC for a conference on the perils of social media for kids, and then onto a quick vacation on the Caribbean island of Canouan. It is not known who paid for their trip. What, you guys want to take a guess? Bill Gates, Getty. Could it be Getty? Could it be Gavin Newsom? I don't know. Could it be Oprah? I don't know. I don't know if Oprah's talking to them. In November, they flew to Vegas for a Katy Perry concert on board Texan oil heir Michael Hurd's plane and his wife, billionaire and Bumble founder Whitney. Now, these are examples of people that have worked. Okay. Thank you, Whitney Wolf Hurd. Along with A-listers Cameron Diaz, her husband Benji Madden, and Zoe Saldana. And in January, the couple joined Paramount CEOs Brian Robbins and fashion designer, again, Brian and Tracy. They've worked. In Jamaica for the premiere of Bob Marley's biopic, One Love. Okay, do you want to, come on, Vegas, do you want to do a shout out for One Love? When in Los Angeles for work and meetings, they often stay at makeup millionaires Victoria Jackson's home. They're notorious. I mean, I would prefer to stay in a home, but I would go with an Airbnb, but they're staying at friends' homes. Their notorious claim to have been in a scary paparazzi chase last May when, see, now this is page 6, New York, right? Going at him. And, you know, they usually don't have these guys going at them. Hey, Bunny. Many artists include private jet rentals in their rider. 1,000%. 1,000%. But it's hypocritical if you're all about, okay, it's going to be an ecologically, I mean, I personally have no problem with people taking private jets. I mean, if you're a celebrity and you're going from, you know, Montecito up to Canada, why not? However, then don't talk about how all of the little people need to be careful about their carbon footprint, you know? So that's all I'm saying. I charge $1,500 per day travel fee as a computer engineer consultant. Yeah. And, you know, people have people have private jets, you know, so it is what it is. After quitting royal duties, excuse me, they talk about, this article is talking about how they went to Tyler Perry's house. And so, you know, they also plotted their escape from the royal family at Russian oligarchs, Yuri Milner's lavish Canadian retreat in Vancouver. So again, they're just being described kind of as grifters still. I talked about side hustles. They just don't want to spend their own money. They want to make more money, and they have to hustle. They do have to hustle to make some money, because the thing is like, it's gonna disappear. It's gonna disappear. Lauryn Hill will be celebrating 26-year anniversary. Oh, I love her. Oh, come on. It's so much fun in Vegas. Of course, I'd love to come, but you know, I have a million things that I'm doing here with children and stuff, teenagers. Okay, so we're going to talk about, so that's what they have to say. Let me show you this, and I want to get your opinion. Okay, we talked about this Lemonada thing. In some ways for Meghan, it could be good. I think maybe, you know, less pressure. I think it'd be good if she would just sit around and talk. I have a million ideas for Harry and Meghan, how they could become famous and interesting, rather than just like, oh my gosh, what are they doing now? It's like, here's the thing. If you don't have great ideas yourself, and I know we have some creatives on here, because I know some of you are in the music business, like I was for years. So if you don't have the great ideas yourself, then you have to humble yourselves enough to know, okay, those people created a hit this, a hit that, or whatever. And they did surround themselves with some really good producers. But then the producers were like, I'm out of here. Why? Because they wouldn't really listen to them. So it was just like one of those things. Also, by the way, Queen Camilla, which I don't usually on our show, we're not all huge fans of Camilla. I think that's, we tend to be all over the place. Some people like Harry and Meghan, some don't. Sometimes we like Harry, sometimes we don't. But what we're seeing is that Queen Camilla, went out for the Shakespeare thing. So she is holding down the fort while King Charles is not doing great. You know, I mean, we don't really know, but he's getting all of these treatments, bam, bam, back to back, which implies that there's an urgency for them to have the treatments. We still don't know what's going on with Kate. Haven't seen Kate. we all start getting suspicious. We're like, what happened? Was she like, did she get attacked? Like what's the deal? Obviously, I mean, you can't help but maybe suspect other things, but I kind of miss seeing her because I'd like to see her come back. And I really want to talk about this one thing because I have this perspective. Okay, so I want to talk about William and Harry before I sign off tonight. And I know you guys all have opinions. I think Bunny doesn't like William that much, if I remember correctly. So here's the thing. If Charles, let's say he's really sick, then what happens is that first, before he would die or whatever, it's possible they either use their counselors of state or William has to step in as a regent, which means the king's dead, but he hasn't abdicated. And so William has to be this regent. My thing right now regarding Harry and William is that Harry, he needs to be the one, in my opinion, to really make nice with William because there's all these complications. Because William is involved in the entertainment business. He is the president of the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. He has all these celebrities that have sort of distanced themselves already from, like, Tom Cruise, from Harry and Meghan in order to make sure that they're not in bad graces with Charles and William, right? So now is the time, Harry, to do your best to maybe, I'm not going to say suck up to your brother, but I am going to say it could get bad after the king dies if you're trying to look for more favor in Hollywood. I'm serious. I'm just saying that it could get in the way of some of his deals. I missed seeing William and the family with King Charles last Sunday. Didn't they go to church? Okay, so I keep forgetting to put these up. So Bunny brings up a point. So Kate is in Sandringham, which that's a good sign, like in that area, because the kids were on break. So the kids were on break. So I don't know if they were in church together. That would be cool if they all did go to church together. They may have, the king may have, but I just missed it. Okay, so let's see what Gina has to say. Let's just take a kind of a round robin here. I'm going to be 59 in April. I remember watching Diana and Charles get married. I was home from school that day. I don't remember what day of the week it was, but yeah, it's sad. I also remember when I found out when she died. I was on a gig. I had a gig with my band, and it was like in the middle of that shocker of shocker. So we had to keep doing our gig, and then I went home and found out more about it. And yeah, Kate had this is interesting, had a parasite. I mean, that's possible too. She's on the, cause I'm doing like a carnivore diet now. She was on the Dulken diet, which is similar, although they add in, some fiber, some oat brand stuff. So she was on that for years. Maybe she didn't get the probiotics, who knows? And then Wendy, you might be right. I was thinking that too, hysterectomy or hernia, the hysterectomy can take a while, so that's possible that it could be a hysterectomy. I hate to say it. I kind of hope it is something like that. I'm glad that they're saying it's not cancer, but like, it's a long thing. And you would think, I don't know, if you were thinking like it was a hysterectomy, like why not just tell everybody, okay, I'm getting older. I had fibroids, whatever your thing is, I suffered from endometriosis for all these years. Like, why wouldn't you just tell people, to stop the speculation, and you can get your verbiage out. Because otherwise we're sitting there thinking, she just wanted, a major mommy makeover, and maybe she had like a facelift and everything, so I think we'd like to know, like, will they tell us at some point? And yet, do we have to know? But they are celebrities, and it's a different thing. Unfortunately, they live in under a different lens than we do. So, okay, so the wedding was on a Saturday. Okay, maybe because she wouldn't have to. Oh yeah, yeah, maybe there would be a lot of criticism like, oh my gosh, we thought she'd have a fourth child. And some people are like, well, maybe she's pregnant again. But then why wouldn't they just say something else? Why would it be that long? She's too young for a hysterectomy. It's possible, but no, some people, like if they've had like long recurring problems, although we don't really have indication of that, although she did have that HG hypergoresis or whatever that is, like when you're pregnant and you get sick. Exactly. If not, everybody's going to be accusing her of being pregnant every 6 months. That's true. So why not? Because it'd be great if they had another baby. She's not too old. She's not too old, especially as one of her last babies. She certainly could have a baby. Then that would like bring Harry down even further in the line of succession. Okay, guys. Bunny, do you have anything else to say for me to highlight up here before I say goodbye? Aren't we loving this Tampa and Orlando weather? Okay, so guys, definitely let's keep up to date regarding Harry and Meghan. Just, for me to kind of tie it up as to what my title was, it's a side hustle. Like they are having to make it on their own. And so it looks clumsy. Trust me, I've had many side hustles as an entertainer my whole life. It's just that not everybody has to watch it like this, and so it does look clumsy typically. Harry has no experience with that. Meghan does. And it's sort of like they're showing that they've got to make it. Otherwise they're going to, so I don't think they're not implying or looking like they're coming back into the royal family, and the media is all over it. So she's not too young for hysterectomy. They wanted to give, I know people who have had hysterectomies in their 30s. I think bowel, resection for ulcerative, ulcerative colitis. This would require a temporary, colostomy. Oh, I hate that. Okay, I have a question. Okay, yes, as long as you're going to behave. Harry at NFL honors. Okay, yes. Yes, they're calling it Rent-A-Prince. It was embarrassing because you go from hanging out with King Charles as the concerned son to talking about rugby. I mean, why? Sometimes I wonder, like, who are these people that are hiring them? Like, honestly. Let's see. Would you carry a child for one of your children if they weren't able to have children of? Would I carry a child for one of my children if they weren't able to? Yeah, I would do that. Their media is softening toward the Sussex. The medias. I suspect they are returning when the king's cancer worsens. I'd like to see them back in the UK. And I think, while I don't notice the media softening for them, I do think that there's hope. I think if they just hit some successful things here, and I kind of softened toward Meghan after finally watching Suits, because everybody was like, she's awful, and I was like, oh, she must be awful. I really I really related to Rachel Zane. Like, I really liked the character and I liked her in it. I know that everybody's like, oh, she's so bad, but I liked her and Mike Ross. I just thought I loved that. So I think that there's hope because she was likable as Rachel Zane. It's just as Meghan Markle, she wasn't as likable. So okay, so let me see what else Bunny has to say, and then we're going to go. Buckingham doesn't have a problem with the website. They pointed out that Prince Charles branded the Duchy of Cornwall. Yeah, so I mean, sometimes this could be all, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that maybe William has a problem. I think Charles is going to, he'll try to not to say much, many bad things about his son, because he wants to reconcile desperately with Harry and Meghan and the kids. Absolutely. If the king dies, how do William and Harry mend their relationship? I know, that's what I'm concerned about. I would be heartbroken if my brother, I know. I mean, think of William. He's got to kind of stay in that position. And at least if Harry would leave, still show some support and love for your brother. Like, don't go talking about his daughter making, like his daughter, like what they wrote about Charlotte in the book was uncalled for, or even talking about Kate, like, come on, like use some wisdom, right? But at the end of the day, it is sad because they do, they're brothers. It's like they're the only ones in their family, unless you count all the people who say that they are part of the family. So it is sad. It is sad. Okay, so don't go breaking my heart. Okay, I'm not going to do that. We could have a karaoke night. Okay, I'm going to go, guys. Please subscribe. Please share. Please look at my links if you want to support me. I'm selling jewelry now as one of my affiliates. I love the Park Lane jewelry. I have a link there. I don't really make it. I like the last video I made live. That's why I don't go live as much. I made $4.27. But my channel is a success, and I do make more than that from my channel in general. That's why I do the shorts and I do some long form video, but I really, make a living more off of, super chat, super thanks, whatever, and the ad revenue. And when people click through to my affiliate links and, so I've got jewelry, I've got wellness products, I've got things that I like. And so I'm just encouraging you to do that. Oh, look at, I couldn't if I tried. Honey, if I get restless. Okay, so I'm going to go. The sapphires are pretty. Yes. Thank you guys so much. I do like coming on here, and I will come on soon because there's always news about the royal family, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.